lights on now. I want to thank everybody for coming. We are intending to have a meeting, so delayed a little bit here. As you may know, the old board and the administration has done a series of efforts, in my view, to undermine the election. We're working out those things so that we can move forward, not without any risk, but hopefully we fulfill the will of the people as conducted in the election, despite efforts to thwart that. So hopefully we'll get those worked out and be with you in a few minutes. Thank you all for coming. One of the concerns was there adequate notice of this meeting? Thanks for hearing that.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a difficult evening for me to start this agenda here that we're going to have this evening. I'm not familiar with all the technicalities as to how to run a board, but I'll do my best to satisfy the crowd. If not, well, I guess I'll get my booze. But we will start this meeting. And we'll have this called to order. And we'll have citizens' comments, please. Excuse me, Dennis, for just one moment. We would like to recognize a new board member that was certified on July the 11th. Her name is
Excuse me, July 21st.
Excuse me, July 21st. And her name is Sylvia Gutierrez.
Proceed.
Yes, please do.
Mr. Jamaica, my name is Dennis Medeiros, and I thought there's some procedural matters that should be clarified for the record. First of all, this meeting, as I understand it, was properly noticed by preparing an agenda that was given to the local press. Attempts were made to post it at the administrative office. Whether it stayed posted or not, it's my understanding that there was physical attempts to do that. And there was also a request by the administration a request to the administration, to have the agenda posted on the website. Now, I checked over the course of the last 24 hours, and it's my understanding that they have never done that. It was also required that copies of the agenda be sent to each and every board member, and I believe, Mr. Northcraft, you did that, is that correct? So every attempt was made to procedurally comply with the Brown Act as it related to noticing this meeting. Now, one of the things I wanted to address, and I know normally we're talking about a 3-minute time limit, and I'd ask to give me a little more latitude as it relates to that, but yesterday, there was a meeting that was held with the board of directors, and it was adjourned because an indication was made that there wasn't a quorum. I was at that meeting, and there was a quorum because Mr. Torres was there, Linda Wilbur was there, and the new board member, Sylvia Gutierrez, was there. And that makes 3 of the 5. I was also told at that time that the matter wasn't properly agendized for the governing body to declare elected under section 15400 Sylvia Gutierrez. If anyone takes a look at yesterday's agenda, item number 2 says chair announcement. And the code section that has been cited by Bruce Green, currently the district's attorney, was that she's not a board member until the board declares her to be a board member. They kept using the word certified, and that's incorrect. If one reads section 15400, it makes very clear that all the board for the district does is declare her elected. That's not a prerequisite to her being a board member. In a recall election, section 11384 of the elections code indicates that if a majority of the votes on a recall proposal are yes, the officer sought to be recalled shall be removed from office upon the qualifications of his successor. The key word there is qualifications. Section 11386 states if the candidate who received the highest number of votes fails to qualify within 10 days, and 10 days is the key, after receiving his or her certificate of election, the office to which he or she was elected shall be vacant and shall be filled according to law. Now, it's the position of Mr. Green that despite the fact that Mrs. Gutierrez had been certified as elected by the elections department, they were going to wait because it wasn't convenient for them on the agenda until the August meeting. The result of that is that she wouldn't have qualified by taking her oath until after the 10 days. And I imagine at that time, they would then have declared that she didn't timely qualify and that the seat was vacant. The facts of this situation are that last Friday, July 21st, the elections department certified the recall election. The statement, the certified statement of the vote was available. I obtained 3 certified copies, and on Friday, I gave a copy to the secretary of the district. That was you, Mr. Jamaica. So you had that on Friday. Now, technically, that was supposed to be provided by the elections department themselves. The following Wednesday, because there was some confusion, you were at the elections department. Michelle Baldwin handed you a certified copy of the statement of elections a little before noon. I think you can verify that. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. She did give me that.
Now, it's the requirement of the code is fairly clear that it's the candidate who qualifies to have as the successor. It's her obligation to qualify within 10 days. So it's not the district's choice when she has qualified for the position. It's her taking the oath. And there's several case authorities and several statutory requirements. And there's and I think Mr. Lampy has one, for city municipalities that indicate that once a person takes the oath, they are seated under the circumstances. As a result, the certificate of election was given to Mrs. Gutierrez on Friday, the 21st, and a ceremony was established, was set for Tuesday night, the day before the meeting that was held on the 26th. Now, I'd like to give you a copy of the program that was established and have this part of the record. Now, at this ceremony, and I want you to take note at the very top, not on the program itself, but on the cover, where it indicates the swearing-in ceremony of Zenobia Gutierrez, Tulare Local Healthcare District. And that was provided at the time. Many people got that as they walked in. And she was sworn in last Tuesday. Now, it's hit the press, and it's my understanding that several of you have received a notice that it's the contention of the attorney for Dr. Kumar that because you, Mr. Jamaica, and you, Mr. Northcraft, and Linda Wilburn were spectators in the audience and congratulated her at that ceremony, that somehow they want to declare and bootstrap that into a Brown Act violation. Now, I just want to make the record clear. There is exceptions to the Brown Act, and I want to read this to you. One of the exceptions is that the attendance of a majority of the members of a legislative body at a purely social or ceremonial occasion, provided that a majority of the members do not discuss among themselves business of a specific, and I emphasize the word specific nature, that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the legislative body of the local agency. So despite the fact that there were 3 in the audience, and Mrs. Gutierrez being sworn in, the fact that you complimented her and congratulated her during the course of that, there was no specific business. And also the fact that you're now getting threatening letters gives every appearance of being nothing more than trying to bully you into not proceeding in the fashion that you should so proceed. So the 2 requirements for Mrs. Gutierrez to be a member of this board were that, number 1, she received her certificate of election, and she received that last Friday. And number 2, that she take her oath of office, which she did Tuesday night as administered by Judge Gorella. Afterwards, that certificate of election and the oath was given to the secretary of the district. That was you, Mr. Jamaica, and you took it back prior to the meeting yesterday, and a copy was so delivered on Wednesday to the elections department as required by them. As a result, notwithstanding the procedural application of 15,400, it's abundantly clear, no matter what Mr. Green says, that Mrs. Zenobia Gutierrez is a member of this board. Thank you.
Would anybody else like to come up and say anything?
My name is Joseph Sorensen, and I'll be very brief.
One second, I'm sorry. I have two things very quickly here.
And I just want to say there's a lot of people behind you. We know you guys have a long road to go. There's going to be a lot of work to do. But you guys have been voted overwhelmingly by the people behind someone behind me, and we wish you lots of luck and good luck. Thanks very much.
Good evening. My name is Mike Lampy, and I will try to be slightly more articulate than I was for all of those who read the Valley Voices article and what I had to say last night. I just want to address one of the items on your agenda very quickly, and that is the discussion of legal services of Bruce Green and Baker Hostel, where I've had, as probably all of you know, some experience with that law firm, in as much as I have 2 lawsuits currently against the district for engaging in practices that I believe are violations of both the government code and other provisions of law. One of those lawsuits is a Public Records Act case that I believe was filed solely because Mr. Green and Baker Hostetler, who I believe are a cancer on this district, refused and failed to comply with the Public Records Act because it would be embarrassing for HCCA, its other client, the client who I think Mr. Green has demonstrated time and time again he owes all of his loyalty to. And if there's any doubt about that, it was Mr. Green who apparently came up with the idea that somebody who won a recall election by 80% shouldn't be seated. Now, if that's not protecting HCCA, his other client, I don't know what is. He's hopelessly conflicted. The other case is even worse. That's a taxpayer lawsuit that a number of people brought in this community because it was Mr. Green's idea to go into a closed session of the board, which I would argue was an illegal session, to file a private lawsuit, a lawsuit that the district has no interest in, no financial stake in, and is not a party to. A lawsuit solely for the benefit of his other client, in this case Benny Benzivi, and Dr. Kumar, and another doctor, Dr. Zuma. I think that the most important thing that this board can do is get competent, independent legal counsel ASAP. And I applaud you for having that on your agenda item tonight. Thank you.
I know this is a tough place for the three of you to be in. It's not easy to be doing what you need to do. But we have some grave concerns. I know the meeting was canceled yesterday, and so the financials did not get produced. But there's only $2 million in cash. We have reports that employees, obviously, checks are bouncing. There's been reports that retirement money is not going into their accounts. And then also, there's a possibility that insurance benefits have not been paid. I know this is not gonna be easy, and I know that those subpoenas that somebody just served you are probably just more bully tactics of what has been done. And what has happened to this hospital is what I have been fighting for, and all of us for the last 18 months, is this administration is sucking this place dry. And if people don't understand that, that's really horrible, and it's affecting quality care issues. Staff do not have things to be able to work with. There is like probably all kinds of different issues related to this. And so I know the three of you know some of that, and I know this isn't gonna be easy, but we owe it to this community to try to fix this once and for all. And Dr. Kumar needs to stay off this board and go be a doctor, do whatever he needs to do, but he needs to quit trying to micromanage this place, and we need to let this place flourish like it could do. So I just wanna say thank you, and I really feel bad for you guys for everything that's happening and how you're being treated, and this is a true and just election, and I congratulate you again, Cynthia, so thank you.
Would anybody else like to come up and say anything? Okay, I guess we'll close the open session and move to our agenda. Item A in discussion will be a discussion regarding rescinding resolutions 844, confirmation of HCCA's authority to engage and terminate legal counsel. B will be
Mr. Chair, I recommend this for the agenda. Several things are things that occurred in the former board that clearly many of us that have been involved in the last three campaigns feel were not serving the best interests of the community or our hospital. This is the first item, Resolution 844. It delegates all authority for selecting and terminating the legal counsel to HCCA. I would recommend and so move that this new board rescind that resolution so that it has no longer any legal impact in effect.
I have a second on the motion here. Okay, motion is carried. We have a first and second. On the motion in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passed. 3-0. Number B, discussion regarding rescinding resolutions 851 and 852 regarding loans.
This is very similar, although you and I were on the board and those were passed. These were authorizations to give total fiduciary responsibility away to HCCA to negotiate, obtain, negotiate, and sign on behalf of the district loans not exceeding $79 million and $22 million. I'm hoping those loans have not been completed yet, and I ask that this board tonight rescind those resolutions so they are no longer of any legal impact. And I so move that.
And can I have a second on that, please? On the motion.
I think I motion.
Okay, motion passed. Could I have a confirmation on all three? C, discussion of legal services with Bruce Green and Baker Hospital as board general counsel.
Mr. Chair, you and I were, I think at our first meeting, we were allowed to add items to the agenda. We wanted to have separate legal counsel so that conflicts between HCCA and the hospital board would have independent legal counsel on both sides. Currently, Bruce Green represents both. In my mind, you could have a conflict. So, because we earlier tonight rescinded the resolution and delegated responsibility for legal counsel, which brings it back to the board level. I move that we immediately terminate certain services of Bruce Green and Baker Hostetler as the board's general counsel.
There's a motion on the floor. Can I have a second on the motion?
I second the motion.
Okay, we all have to vote on that.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item D, discussion regarding the appointment of interim board counsel.
Mr. Chair, this is a difficult one because while we have an existing council, it's hard to recruit a second council, and it's hard to do it without complying with the open meetings law. So I have to ask my fellow board members for some reliance on my ability to research appropriate counsel for us. We can, over time, do a request for proposal, or take proposals and create a permanent legal counsel through a process. But we need immediate legal counsel to represent the board, as we indicated with the smoke screens that the other side is throwing at us to try to delay our processes and the will of the public. So I have taken the liberty of making contact and researching the firm of McCormick Barstow, a very large firm in the city of Fresno. Those of you who go north on 41 will see a 4-story building that is their name on it. I believe they can serve us well in the interim capacity. And I think we need that service immediately. Nothing against the three who spoke tonight. I was a volunteer attorney's force and certainly appreciate their help. But I do believe that we need to employ an interim counsel immediately, and I would recommend McCormick and Barstow for that. And that is my motion.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
Okay, the motion has been seconded, so do I get a confirmation on the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. And item E, request to terminate all authorizations for public funding of private lawsuit and seek to recover all funds expended to date.
Mr. Chair, you'll recall this also occurred while we were on the board. The public found out that HCC had authorized our public money from our hospital to pay for private lawsuits involving 3 doctors. What's amazing about that is it's not to pay for their defense. They are the plaintiffs. They authorize without any board action for us to pay the legal fees of that lawsuit. I believe it's probably in the $200,000 to $300,000 range currently. When that was brought to the public's attention, our attention, HCCA asked, and the former board approved retroactively participating in that private lawsuit, which is a real question in my mind to get to public funds. So tonight, we have a chance to reverse that action, and it's my recommendation, my motion, that we terminate all authorization of any public funds for private lawsuits and seek to recover those funds that have been expended to date.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Do I have a second on the motion?
I second the motion.
Okay, can I get confirmation on the motions?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion's passed. We move on to item F, discussion regarding orientations and current future new members of the board.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think you and I are very aware that we received virtually no orientation to the board. We did not get a tour, we did not get introductions to the staff, we did not even get a budget when we came on the board. I want to correct that for our newest member, and I want to ask ACCA to immediately prepare an orientation that would include introductions to staff, tour of facilities, budget and finance materials, bylaws, planning documents, and the status of projects, among other things. That is my motion.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Do I have a second on that motion?
I second the motion.
Okay, can we get confirmation on the motion, please?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item G, request to set time of all regular board meetings at 6:30 p.m. at the city council chambers when available.
Mr. Chair, you'll recall that also at our first meeting, we asked for a later time to serve the public better. And obviously, tonight's attendance reflects that a later meeting is more convenient and allows more people to be involved. And this new board, I'm pretty confident, wants your involvement, wants you to be aware of what's going on, and applaud you for your attendance and your interest in your hospital. Accordingly, we would like the regular time of the regular board meetings is set by motion of the board. And we feel 6:30 p.m. is an appropriate time. The city council chambers may not always be available. We may need to look at other options. I don't know if we want to end it now, but we can change it in the future if that becomes difficult. I would move that this board set the time of all regular board meetings to be 6:30 p.m. at a regular time, the fourth Wednesday of the month, in the city council chambers in this room when available.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
Okay, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Item F, discuss regarding orientation and current future. Oh, I'm sorry. Item H, request to rescind and reapproval of minutes of January 27, 2017 board meeting.
Mr. Chair, you'll recall when we were, there was a couple meetings ago, we had some difficulty getting the correct requests that we made at that January 27 into the minutes. They were put in the minutes correctly and unanimously approved by the board. However, the then board council advised the board to make amendments, which in my mind falsified those minutes. So my motion tonight is to rescind the reapproval of those minutes. We stand the original approval of the January 27, 2017 board meeting minutes.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to rescind the January 27th board meeting minutes. Is there a second on that?
I second the motion.
Okay. And first and a second, can I get confirmation on the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item discussion of holding a special board meeting at 6:30, August the 9th, 2017, in Tulare City Council chambers.
Again, that would be if available. We anticipate with a new legal counsel, they will have to come up to speed very fast on the issues that we have. I suspect they will want to meet in closed session to discuss real and anticipated and potential litigation. And so I thought we should tentatively at least set this meeting. You only need to, the legal requirement is to post a special board meeting 24 hours in advance, but this gives the public much more advance. And we anticipate that we'll be having a special board meeting on August 9th to deal with the issues with the benefit of our new legal counsel. So I move that we set a special board meeting for 6:30 p.m. August 9th in the city council chambers if they are available.
There's a motion on the floor. Do I have a second on the motion?
I second the motion.
Okay, all in favor of the motion of having the board meetings at 6:30 p.m. August the 9th, 2017, Tulare City Council chambers. Can I have a vote on that?
Aye.
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 Mr. Chair, I just wanted to comment before we adjourn that I think all of you are aware that there are attempts to delay our court, and all the people as decided by the election and the seating of our new board member. That will likely continue. The motivation for that is HCCA gets paid in the neighborhood of $25,000 a day. Any delay that they have can make for this board, any confusion, any smoke screen they can do will serve their financial interest, not anybody, not the public interest. So we are working around that. There likely will be challenges to this meeting tonight. And other activities that we work on as they are motivated by their own greed. We are motivated by serving the public. So those will continue to be in conflict, no doubt. But I hope you understand we are doing the very best we can to bulletproof our actions, to proceed without allowing delays, unnecessary delays, with frivolous and ridiculous charges and claims. So stay tuned.
Stay strong. Be strong.
Sylvia, you have anything to say?
Yes. I would like to say thank you to all of you, especially Mike and Kevin, for giving me a seat right now and respect the people's vote. I really appreciate that because I am representing District 3 and they vote for me. Thank you so much.
That being said, nothing else on the agenda. That being said, nothing else on the agenda, the meeting is adjourned.